Because you work with a lot of different foundations. What are some of the main uses you've seen for foundations after token launch, and they're being used for?
Yeah, I think I mean, you guys had a pretty comprehensive discussion in your session last week on how and why foundation companies exist. So I won't go into all of that again, but maybe to just briefly summarize the main point there, which is that these foundation companies are ownerless structures, and so they're great tools for communities and DAOs, but basically to use in instances where decentralization is in. Now, as for what they get used for, decentralization, that's a great idea, but there's certain things in the traditional world which you can't do as a community or as a DAO. For example, the easy one that we often talk about is you can't open a bank account as a community, and you can't sign an agreement with a contractor as a community. So that's where the foundation company is very handy, because the foundation company can open a bank account and can sign an agreement, but because it's ownerless, that doesn't detract from that concept of decentralization. So that's sort of the overarching use case in this area that we see. And then it can become quite bespoke in what they further get used. So some are used for the purpose of giving out grants. What happens is the foundation company will be funded with a certain amount of money or tokens, coins, basically any form of value. And then the community can decide on worthy causes on which they'd like to spend these funds to further improve their cause or their protocol. So for example, someone might put forward a proposal to how to improve the website, or write an article explaining the protocol, and they'll ask to be paid in return for their services. The community then gets to vote on, they can decide whether they want to spend their money or their funds, to get the word out or to improve the website. So for these grant companies, that's oftentimes all they'll do. It's a one-way flow of funds. They don't earn any revenues or anything like that, which you would expect in a traditional company. Another use case that we see quite often is companies are set up to enter into agreements with service providers who maybe, are comfortable engaging in certain jurisdictions. As we're all following the news, this is busy changing quite a lot right now, but until recently, the US wasn't very welcoming to the crypto industry. And some exchanges, for example, they weren't even able to engage in the US, but they were comfortable with Cayman's high standards of AML procedures and the general high quality of the structures and service providers on the island. And so they were comfortable entering into agreements with Cayman companies. And so some foundations are used for that. You can see it can become quite bespoke in what they get used for, but the overarching structure of the ownerless foundation and then the high level of Cayman service providers, that's always there.